Okay. Hi, this is Emma and Ryan. We did our team project on the overall cost of higher education. We kind of went into more detail on a couple different topics. Our first one was the cost of unrelated college courses. We moved into the financial cost of attending college, and then we moved on to the mental health costs that the higher education atmosphere can cause. So for our first one, the cost of unrelated college courses, Ryan, do you want to say what you learned from that?
Yes, great, thank you. So basically, colleges set the requirements for each of their degrees. And so that means for like a medical degree, sometimes you end up taking like an art class or a music class or something to that effect that is not related to your degree. The problem with that is that that's an extra cost out of pocket for students, and for students that are on like government aid, financial aid, things like that. That's an extra course that they're paying for as well, as taxpayers that are helping contribute to those different aids. If colleges would require more specific courses related to the degrees, I feel like more people would be apt to apply for college and would be able to finish more successfully and in a timely manner without having to take extra classes. Other times, students can't find the classes that they need to take in order to fulfill their degree, or they're just not available at that time. And so they're taking, again, extra courses that are unnecessary, not related to their degree, and again, costing them more money and financial aid and government loans. So.
Yeah, and I think I also took away that it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of, especially in high school and in the early years of college, it could be kind of confusing to have those unrelated courses and just an overload of information when that information isn't really that necessary. So I think that's one of the biggest points I took away from that as well. For the financial cost of attending college, I kind of focused more on how the financial cost is making it really hard for a lot of families to put their students through the college, and because of that, kind of the country as a whole is struggling to get people with the knowledge that they need for the evolving transformations that we're having in the world. And so just the admissions are kind of leveling out because of how high the tuition is increased. But the need for this extra knowledge and the education that it brings is getting higher and higher as we make more discoveries and stuff like that. So I think that's what I took away most from the cost of that.
That's good. I kind of went a little bit different route in discussing the financial cost and researching that, and just the overall cost of the financial aspect of college is very expensive, and there's so many requirements for how many courses you need and how much it costs per course to attend. And so basically, where colleges set the required courses and they set their prices for the government, the more people that use government aid, financial aid, student loans, things like that, the more the government plays a role in that. And then the more that the government provides cost for students to go to school, the higher the tuition goes up. So colleges, basically, because the government's helping students, is raising their cost, which is making it more difficult for more people to go to school, to be able to cover the full expenses of school, and to be able to qualify for a certain amount to pay for all of their courses. So it was kind of surprising to me how much the government plays a role in the rising cost of tuition and higher education expenses. And I found that there's a lot of information out there that says that, if colleges provided their own loan programs where they, earned money off the interest rates, or, lending to students, that would help kind of take the government's hands out of education. and hopefully be able to lower the prices for students, or to be able to access loans through the school at lower rates, and that would benefit the school as well, not having the government in there as much. So that's kind of what I took away for the financial aspect of it.
Yeah, that's super good. For our last topic, we kind of dove into the mental health costs of higher education, and I think nowadays it's a little more known, and it's a little more like understood, but it's still super prominent, especially through COVID. I feel like it's a super prominent issue, and so I kind of researched how bad it was and what we could do in higher education to reduce it. I think an interesting thing I found was in the article one of the articles that I read, they had some survey data that was in there, and it says that this was from 2018, but it says that in the past year, 3 out of 5 of the students from the college that they studied experienced either overwhelming anxiety, depression to the point where they couldn't function, substance abuse, stuff like that. And only around like 10 to 15% of people on average kind of went out and tried to use the services at the counseling center of the college. And so I think just the biggest problem of the cost is that students are struggling and they're not really getting the help that they need, or they're not able to get the help that they need. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I got from it.
I kind of looked into the same way you did as well. And basically, like, there are a lot of resources that the colleges provide. I read this really cool one. I can't remember exactly what state it was in, but the college took it upon themselves to provide like netting under a bridge where suicide was highly committed. And so, and they've also blocked off other areas in their college that were accessible for students and had a high suicide rate at. And so they made those areas unaccessible to students. And I really kind of thought that was admirable that they took it upon themselves to go that far to protect their students. And some of the other things too, I think, basically with talking about not only the financial cost and the stress of going to school is, college is supposed to be a great experience. You're supposed to learn and grow and enjoy it. And you think about going to college when you're young, and it's supposed to be this great adventure. And it's really sad that, it's become so stressful because there's so many expectations from staff, teachers, parents, families, that you're supposed to succeed and you're supposed to go to college. And so, I think that kind of takes away from the excitement and adventure of going to college and doing something exciting with your life. And I think that, all colleges need to have some kind of a resource for students to be able to reach out for support and have aids available for them to be able to utilize. And I also think it's important for the students to know too that, if you have to have a plan in place for college, because it's not going to be easy. You have to be willing to communicate with your family, with your staff, in order to ask for help and to get help that you need, and just be able to utilize those resources, so that you can enjoy college and make it a good experience. So that's, I think, really what I just took away from that was, we need to find better ways to help kids have a good experience, or students, and have a better experience with college and not make it so stressful for them and to not enjoy it.
Yeah, and so I was just going to add in for our overall solution, we kind of came up with just reduce. And so when it comes to unrelated courses, just reduce the unrelated courses. For mental health, just overall find ways to reduce mental health issues in students or in the colleges, and then for the financials, just overall reduce the cost. And so that was kind of what our solution was. And I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Emma.
Mm-hmm.